Does Poirier Covington need to happen? So you guys all know Colby went after Dustin very hard. But he went after Masvidal equally as hard, and he went after Adesanya equally as hard in the same media frame. So it's kind of divided up. Like, you really couldn't tell just by what came out of Colby's mouth who he wanted the most. He was spreading that around, throwing a little Kamaru Usman's way. I want to say Nate Diaz got a mention here or there. But post-fight, Colby's gotten pretty direct. It's Poirier. Now, I have my own personal thoughts on that, which is, that's a hard fight. And let me just start with that. I lean towards the school of no, that fight doesn't need to happen for a couple of reasons. First off, Dustin was a 45-pounder who went to 55. So now we're asking him to leave and cover the spread of yet another division with the baddest dude on the planet not named Kamaru Usman. Like, that's a tall order for anybody. The other side of that is, if Dustin was to take that fight and he's going to show up the same as he does for every other fight, which is ready to fight. Those two guys are going to bludgeon each other. And some of you guys are going to love that. You're going, yeah, that's exactly what we want to see in there. I get that side of it, but there's some fights where you know before that fight, two guys are coming out different. You do not get better in this sport. It is the only sport I've ever seen where the more times you do it, you don't get better. You want to go grab a couple of kids just at random, you're going to have them play a game of soccer. You're going to turn to this kid and say, how many years have you played? And he says 2 years. And you're going to turn to this kid and say, how many years have you played? And he says 8 years. And boom, you're going to know who your starter is. And you're going to be right 100% of the time. Except in this sport. You do not get better by doing this. You leave a piece of yourself out there. Now, there's a tipping point and there's exceptions, sure. But that's the kind of fight. That's the kind of 15 minutes. Which by today's standard, they'll probably find a way to rig it and make it 25 minutes. That's the kind of 25 minutes where you come out different. One of you is going to win and one of you isn't. That's the same as the rule always is. You for sure both are taking something off of your careers. Is it a fight? Is it 5 fights? Is it a year? Is it 3 years? It's one of those going to be brutal. Now, again, I'm probably talking you guys into seeing it now. You probably like that even more. I don't know how big of an idea that truly is, though, only because of what I'm saying about Dustin and the weight. If Dustin had tested at 170 a couple of times, if Dustin even made it official, he's coming to 170. He's fair game. The sharks are going to come out of the water. The smart guys are going to know, I can get attracted to Dustin Poirier. I can have a really big fight. And if Colby's the first of that party, more power to chaos. I'm just sharing with you that that is not the point that we're at. Dustin Poirier has not made it clear he's going to 170. If Dustin does make it clear within just his own mind that he's going to 70, he'll probably want to go right after Colby. You beat Colby, you're fighting for a world championship. I can't see a scenario around that. Particularly if your name is Dustin Poirier in a feature match, and particularly if your name's Dustin Poirier and you used to be the champion of the world already. You're one big win away, boom, that would be it. But that's not where Dustin's at. He's been a little bit reluctant. Dustin has been so reluctant that he even turned the power over to you guys about a month ago. Says, what do you want to see me do? I could do 70. He didn't make it seem like he really wanted to. He knows how well he can do at 55 because he's already done it. King of the mountain. But does he want to make that weight cut? They're all very fair things. What are the options? What's this one look like? Was it same as any other tourist looking for where they're going to take a trip to? He's starting to weigh the goods and the bads. But until Dustin commits to that weight class, I think he's off limits. I think he's off limits. And I don't know how well served Colby is to continue firing these bullets. I won't know. It'll be one of those things, hindsight. You're only going to get away with insulting Dustin so long. And if that is the fight that Colby is dead set on, and he's dead set on this insult tour, okay. The other side of the coin is, I think that personally speaking, I think the movement to make Colby a middleweight contender is gaining some ground. ESPN covered it through social media, just by example. The Schmo covered it. John Morgan covered it. Errol Hawani covered it. I'm talking about it. Brendan Schaub weighed in on it. I mean, a lot of people are talking, and I understand that some were dismissive, but that conversation is very real, and it hasn't got to Izzy yet. Izzy's going to be the ultimate one that has to sign off on that. Nobody has more ability to steer their own career than Adesanya. But Adesanya's in a very tricky spot where he can't really speak up. This just got tested the previous week as it had to do with Chimaev. And Izzy said, look, he's good. He's on his run. I'll worry about him when I have to worry about him. But right now, he's not a number one contender. Right now, he's not even in my weight class. Okay, great. But that's going to apply to anybody. Izzy wasn't specializing Chimaev out. That's the policy for anybody. If you're not in the weight class, if you're not a top contender, if you're not about to be next, you're not going to get served through the champ's lips. I get that. I just think it's gaining some steam. And wherever that goes, even if we're in a conversation of, is Colby going to go and fight Adesanya, or is Colby going to go and fight Dustin Poirier? We're in a pretty damn good spot here, guys. I mean, it's a pretty interesting position that we're in. And it also has a lot to do with Nate Diaz. If you're Dustin and you've got two different options, you're in the driver's seat now. Dustin has made it very clear that he wants Nate Diaz. Nate has made it very clear that he wants Dustin. But then before you go and starting to book these things, you've also got the Irishman still out there who wants a piece of Nate and who wants a piece of Dustin. When's he going to be back? See where this gets tough? And I really do think if anybody's handling this situation, and I think everybody's doing the right thing. Colby doesn't open his mouth unless it's got a purpose. Adesanya looks like he's already got his hands full. Dustin's sitting around waiting. Nate is ready to go. What's Conor doing? It's one of these spots where everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. But right now, if you are Dustin Poirier and you're the one with multiple options, the right thing to do is keep your mouth shut, sit back, and see how it plays out. Dustin Poirier is being called out. I'm telling you guys, that's only going to last for so long. And me personally, I don't want to see the fight. I don't. That would change. They signed out agreements. Everybody's got free will. I'll change. I'll be there. But that is the kind of brutality what those two guys would go and do to each other for 15 to 25 minutes. Is it worth it? Is it worth it for our entertainment? Is it worth it for their personal beef? Time will tell.